This is the explanation of the Ramchal. It's interesting. We always find that seven days is a unit, a complete unit. The Sukkot holiday, a Jew has an obligation to transfer his residence from a permanent residence to a temporary residence. It's a 7-day period. Besukus Teishru Shivas Yomim. In this hut, you must sit for 7 days. This temporary abode. It's not as secure as one's normal residence. The Talmud tells us that the innateness of the sukkah is a representation of the clouds of glory which protected us for a 40-year period when we were in the desert after we had left Egypt. The sukkah itself is a representation of that. Being in this spiritual environment, being exposed to the divine presence for a 7-day period brings about a spiritualization that we're able to contend with many things throughout the year. As a human being, being a physical being, being subject to our senses. We're sensual beings. We have animalistic drives and characteristics which we share with the animal. And it's a struggle. It's an ongoing battle. From the moment we're born till the day we leave this face of this earth, how does one contend with all sometimes these overwhelming challenges? God gives us the means, the mediums to spiritualize ourselves. Throughout the year, it's the mitzvos, the commandments. As we say prior to every blessing, every time we perform a mitzvah, the blessing, the text of the blessing is, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav. You've sanctified us with your commandments. When the Jew performs a commandment, whether he eats the matzah, whether he sits in the sukkah, whether he hears the shofar, whether he wears fringes on his four-cornered garment, or if he puts on tefillin, this is all part of a spiritualization process. The ultimate spiritualization process, as the rabbis teach us, is Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. The Torah, the study of Torah, even one word is the equivalent of the spiritualization of all the mitzvos combined. That's how potent, in the positive sense, is the study of Torah. It literally creates and causes a metamorphosis within the Jew, that the Jew is not subject to all the human drives. Chazal tell us, the rabbis tell us, I've created an evil inclination, but the antidote to that inclination is the study of Torah. Barosi Yetzarah, I've created the evil inclination, but the antidote, the Torah is the tavlin, is the antidote for that. That neutralizes all these drives, but it's the spiritualization process. Identically, weaning ourselves from something which is a representation of everything negative on the most extreme level, which undermines the service of a Jew to God, arrogance, haughtiness, self-centeredness, which we believe we are God. Our own perception of reality determines whether something's right or wrong. We become conflicted when we begin craving or we desire something, regardless whether it's permitted or not permitted. However, if one is spiritualized, one is able to create a distance and not be overwhelmed with whatever that desire is. The text of the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos writes that if you consider three things, you will not come lidei aveiro. You will not come into the hands, into the clutches of sin. So the Maral of Prague explains in his commentary that if a person is already in the clutches of sin, it's not so simple not to succumb to sin. One always has to maintain a distance from sin. If you're at a distance, you're able to gauge and to secure yourself not to be drawn into sin. But if one is already in the clutches of sin, the person is at the edge. When you're already tottering at the edge, it's not so simple to lose one's balance and to fail. This is all part of the spiritualization process. What's crucial and primary to bring about this inner strength is the 7-day, 7.5 day weaning process from something which is leavened, not to eat it and not even to possess it, and to do an overt act of burning it or destroying it to show one's disdain and one's intolerance for its representation.